तो स्टूडेंट्स कुछ बात कर रहे हैं हम अबाउट द सर्विसेज प्रोवाइडेड बाय द डेटा लिंक लेयर. मैंने आपको वेरी क्विकली आई इंट्रोड्यूस यू टू सम ऑफ द सर्विसेज दैट द डेटा लिंक लेयर प्रोवाइड्स. As I told you, our data link layer is layer 2. It provides services to the network layer and then it receives services from the physical layer. और स्टूडेंट्स फर्स्ट सर्विस की जिसकी हम लोगों ने बात की थी, दैट वाज फ्रेमिंग. अब स्टूडेंट्स स्लाइड पे देखिएगा कि इन द केस ऑफ फ्रेमिंग वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट टू processes. The first one is called encapsulation. And then this also on the receiving end, we are going to do decapsulation. Both combined are called framing. Students, in the case of framing, whenever your data link layer, it receives the data from the upper layer, which in this case is the network layer or layer 3, the data is in the form of packets. Students, the data link layer encapsulates this packet into multiple frames. This encapsulation, it results into the breakdown of a packet, which is a stream of bits or a chunk of bits which are lumped together in the form of datagrams or packets, and the data link layer breaks them down by encapsulating it into multiple frames for transmission. Students, data link layer also adds its own header to each of the frames as well. In fact, future lectures में, when we are going to talk about the error detection and error correction, आप लोग देखेंगे कि it's not just a header. We will also have a trailer. There is a header bit, and then there is going to be a trailer bit as well. And the major reason we are going to add this trailer bit is for the error correction. So students, summing up our discussion, the first and the most important function that our data link layer performs is the encapsulation, and at the receiving end, it does the decapsulation. Encapsulation is the breakdown of the packets that are going to come down from layer 3, and the breakdown into frames with a header, data link layer header added to it. At the receiving end, once this frame is received up from the physical layer, the data link layer, once again, it decapsulates. It takes this frame and it combines multiple frames together, forms the packet, and transmits this packet up to the layer 3. Students, because this is an important concept, I'll try to give you an example of an analogy that's given in your textbook as well. Students, let's suppose you're traveling from one city to the other. The first thing that you'll probably do is you will, from your home or your primary residence, you'll take a cab, you'll take a taxi, and the taxi will actually take you. You will get into the taxi, and the taxi will drop you to the train station. You'll get out of the taxi at the train station, and you'll take the train. Train is an analogy for our high-speed link. The train will take you from one city, a wide area network concept, to the other city. Students, at the remote city, you will get out of this train and you will again take a taxi. And students, once you take that taxi, you will go to wherever you're traveling, your friend's place, and you'll get out of the taxi and you reach your ultimate destination. Students, in a sense, we are doing encapsulation at the source side, where you're taking a taxi and then going to the train station. Then we have the WAN communication, or the communication through between the different cities through our network. And then at the receiving end or at the destination end, what you're doing is you're doing some sort of decapsulation where you are actually getting in the taxi and getting out of it once again. Students, the concept of encapsulation and decapsulation is the crux of our services that are provided by the data link layer, and is a very important concept when we are going to be talking about the overall data communication between our source and our destination. एक slide पे चलेंगे, and we'll talk about this communication and the concept of encapsulation and decapsulation in further detail. Students, as you can see, we have got encapsulation happening at the source. So at the source, we have got a datagram or a packet that comes down from layer 3. So your datagram is a layer 3 concept. We call it, once again, I tell you both the terms. We call it as a packet as well, and sometimes we call it as a datagram as well. This particular textbook of yours, this refers to the layer 3 packet as a datagram. Don't worry about it. You can call it a packet or a datagram. Comes down to the source at the data link layer. That the data link layer, it breaks down this datagram in the form of a frame. आप देख सकते हैं कि in this case we have got a data link layer header, and we have got the data that we have. This can be a part of this datagram or a packet, or it can be all the data or the payload that you have received in that datagram. So frame type 1. Then you can see that we have got a physical link between this and the router, and in the router we have got 2 data link layers. Very important concept once again. So it is every single interface of this router will have a data link layer of its own. This router has got 3 interfaces: interface 1, interface 2, and interface 3. Every single interface will have its own data link layer. Students, in this case, because we are using just the 2 interfaces, this one and this one, we are going to utilize the 2 data link layers, and we'll talk about that in further detail as we move on in our discussion of data link layer. But for now, it's received by this data link layer here. It is given to the data link layer of the outer interface, and it goes out as a frame type 2, and it will again have some sort of header, and it will have this payload or the data inside it. It ultimately reaches our destination, in which place we do the decapsulation. So the header is removed and the datagram is provided to the ultimate destination. Students, we have got physical links between the source and the destination, the actual source host and the router, and then the router and the destination host. And then in the case of data link layers, we have got this whole thing that you see out here is nothing but a logical connection all the way from the data link layer of the source to the data link layer of the destination. Data link layer पे हमारा logical connection है, and then on the physical layer we have got a physical connection in the bottom.